Welcome everybody to episode 14 of 4NZGamers. I'm your host Phil Brooks, joined as always by James Jennings,
hey,
Dave Watson, James Brooks, and of course today our special guest, Lenny Kravitz. Kahurangi Timble.
Thank you very much.
Alright. So, as usual, we talk about some topics, so we may as well kick that in the teeth and get straight into it. So, James, I believe you want to go first?
Yeah, my topic. So, by the time this video is out, so today is the release date of Metal Gear 5 Phantom Pain. And if you guys seen... I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a cool game. I'm going to enjoy playing it. But on IGN, it got a 10 out of 10 rating, which is an amazing score. 10 out of 10, perfect score. Now, what I wanted to bring up with you guys, and it's more about kind of personal opinion, but we've talked about this a few times before, and some people have said, does a game deserve a perfect score out of 10 out of 10? I believe IGN has given several 10 out of 10s, and we've had a look on GameSpot, which Metal Gear has also got a 10 out of 10. But there's having a conversation with a friend of mine, Dave, he was saying no game should get a 10 out of 10. There's always something wrong with it. Do you guys agree with that? There's always bugs. Like, for it to be a 10 out of 10, there should be no bugs, perfect graphics, awesome story, the multiplayer should work perfectly fine. It should be the perfect game. So is 10 out of 10 even achievable for games?
Yeah.
I'd like to put that on the table. It's a pretty big...
I guess
big job.
I could sum it up with the analogy of this beer. You could look at it and say, well, the beer is half full or the beer is half empty. and your friend Dave is clearly a half empty kind of guy. No game should be 10 out of 10. It's an indication to the gamer or the person who's buying it that this game is quality.
Yeah,
exactly.
So would it be on the basis of like weight of expectation? Because obviously, it's the whole like franchise really backs it up, and then so the weight of expectation by its true fans push it up to those higher echelons of 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And historically, it is those franchises, isn't it?
Yeah.
Theft Autos, the Zeldas.
Yeah.
But those types of games that end up being 10 out of 10, isn't it? Or Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, well, with Metal Gear Solid on IGN, in their review, they say it's a 10 out of 10, but even the review says that the story is a bit unrefined. So they're saying this game is perfect, but the story is a bit off. So why should it be a 10 out of 10?
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
You know what I mean?
Should have been like a 9.5 or something.
Yeah. Or 9.8 or whatever.
Or maybe you're talking about such small degrees, like you're going 9.9 unless they've got a system for going
Which
back.
they do. They have given 9.3s and 9.7s, 9.1s.
Well, can anyone think back about the previous versions to this Metal Gear?
Yes. Yeah. So, in terms of its scoring.
Yeah, in terms of its scoring.
Apparently, Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots got a 10 out of 10.
That's right.
But where the other ones, Sons of Liberty, Peace Walker, and even Snake Eater, they're in the upper nines.
Yeah.
Nines.
So in terms of our experiences with those other ones, did they meet that? Which one did you say was the 10 out of 10?
Part 4.
Yeah,
Part 4.
Guns of the Patriots.
Yeah. Okay. So in our experience, do we believe that after playing it and going through it, did it meet that expectation at that time of a 10 out of 10?
See, I still, I don't know about you, but personally I think Part 2 is one of the
Sons of
greatest
Liberty,
ones. Yeah. But and I played Part 4 just recently actually, and I really enjoyed it, but I still...
But you didn't play it in the time that it was released, which would change your perception of it.
True, but I played Part 2 just recently, and that game still holds up.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And I still enjoyed it. And I was even thinking back to when it first came out, and I was just going, man, that game was amazing.
Yeah.
When it first came out on the PlayStation 2, like around the launch, it was actually a really big title.
Because then this brings us into that sort of other realm of gaming consoles. It pushed the limits.
Exactly.
Yeah, pushed the limits. So then we can move on to a thing. Does the 10 out of 10 equal pushing the limits of the gaming console that it's on?
Yeah.
I think it should.
Yeah.
It's got the new Fox engine, eh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty.
So it's definitely a step up from the Metal Gears. It's now open world. So what I found with each Metal Gear, they've gone leaps and bounds and taken risks on trying new things. It's not just the same game with a different skin.
Yeah.
So it's
Assassin's Creed.
But the Metal Gear games, for me, and being a massive fan of the Metal Gear series, a lot of the games are quite linear, and they mentioned in IGN's review as well, it's kind of overwhelming to come from linear Metal Gear Solid experiences to now an open world experience, so it changes things up. It's still Metal Gear Solid about its stealth play and all that kind of stuff, but now it's almost Grand Theft Auto.
It's pushing the ladder on what a stealth game can be and could be and stuff like that. So, and it is pushing the technology, and I think that's kind of worthy of a 10. It's hard to say when we haven't even played the game yet. We just have to go on this guy who reviewed it.
And see, that's the point as well.
It's
a one person's opinion,
Exactly.
possibly a few others.
Did anyone else give it a 9, like GameSpot?
No, so GameSpot gave it a 10. But I think they have different reviewing sort of criteria, right? Like, so IGN says a 10 out of 10 doesn't mean the game is perfect. A 10 out of 10 means that it is exactly what we were just saying, that it's a game that pushes the ladder. They call it a masterpiece of its time.
What did they give Witcher 3?
I
can't remember. Like
GameSpot gave it a 10, but IGN gave it like a
9.3,
okay.
I believe.
Yeah, and that to me is almost deserving of a 10.
Exactly. So what's the difference between, say, because we can't talk about Metal Gear because we haven't played it, but say Last of Us got a 10.
Exactly. So
Grand Theft Auto 5 got a 10.
Yep. Grand Theft Auto 4 got a 10.
Grand Theft Auto 4 got a 10.
Did it?
Journey got a 10.
But see, you know, we're going into franchise, so again, we're going into franchise games that are...
It's expectation.
Yeah, expectation.
But having played The Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5, and then looking at what you just said, The Witcher, which didn't get a 10 by IGN, what do you think is, like, do you think it's Last of Us was worthy of that 10 over Witcher?
I think games, and I think you're probably going to talk about this, so you have a feeling that's where you're going, is that it's those games that are story-based, those kind of tight story-based games that usually end up with those 10s. Where now we're going more open world, there's more possibility for it to fall off the rails a bit, because you lose that story focus when it's open world. You know, you can go and do anything, and that's Witcher 3 kind of fell into that trap. That's where I would.
But apparently Metal Gear fell into that trap. That's the exact thing the reviewer said. He said the story is sparse, and because of its open world nature, it was unable to have that same linear sort of great storytelling that the other Metal Gears had. But he said he enjoyed it because it created new storytelling opportunities.
Yeah.
Ones that he was able to create himself in an open world environment.
Which happens all the time in The Witcher.
Yeah.
But it didn't get a 10.
Yeah, that's what
In fact, it probably happens more than Metal Gear Solid. Because there's story everywhere in The Witcher 3 open world.
Yeah. I think they always hit it on the gameplay though, like, I know in The Witcher 3 it was the controls, like, you know, he moved a little bit tankish, he was a bit sluggish. And okay, you're nitpicking and stuff at that point, but...
No, but that's interesting. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture got an 8, and that was because one of his main complaints about the game was that the character moved too slow. And then the developers came forward and said, "Oh, sorry, we forgot to tell you there is a sprint button. You got to hold down the right bumper for 7 seconds, which is just long enough for someone to give up holding that button to see if it does anything."
7 seconds.
Yeah, 7 seconds literally, and then he starts running faster. And then the reviewer went back to his review, crossed out all of his comments about the slowness of it all, and changed the score from 8 to 8.5. So he actually changed his score based on control and because he said that ruined the game for him. He felt it was sluggish and annoying and frustrating and blah blah blah.
Yeah, game speed, eh?
Yeah, and without that, it would have been a better game, and that was.
Yeah.
And so this goes into your point about criteria. What are the criteria that these different people, even ourselves as individuals, have for... Because the reason why you would score something 10 would be different from the reason why I score it 10.
Yes, exactly.
Because we play it differently.
Yeah.
You know? And then the things that we like in the
What we
game.
enjoy,
What we enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have given Splinter Cell Blacklist a 10.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
Game of the year for me that year.
Game of the year. He's already calling it, people. He's already calling it. Watch out, it's bigger than the call of the All Blacks this afternoon.
130,000. That one.
Are you sponsored by the developers?
No.
Okay, but so going on the 10 out of 10, do you think games deserve 10 out of 10 ratings?
Should they be able to reach that level?
Yeah, should they be able to reach that level?
I liked how, I can't remember who did it, but it's going back a ways, but they used to have this editor's choice instead of this 10 out of 10. So they have the scale, but and it would be, you could be 9 or 10 out of 10, but it would have this editor's choice next to it, and that was like a clear marker, this game is quality.
Yeah.
And so instead of giving it a 10 out of 10 or whatever, they gave it that.
It becomes a must play or a not
just a game of its generation.
Yeah,
like
but then it's and it's good because then it's based on the, for lack of a better term, the mana of the person who's the editor. You know, and if you like that person's opinion, then you're going to, veer towards that person's, gaming knowledge.
Yeah, totally.
I think
Yeah.
you've got to have it.
Yeah.
Because it makes me stand up. Because when I saw Bayonetta 2 got a 10 out of 10,
Yeah.
and I was getting a Wii U, I was like, oh, awesome. So this is a game that's only on this
Yeah,
system,
yeah.
and I'm going to get a 10 out of 10 game on my system
Yeah,
that no
yeah.
one else has.
pretty
And that made me
amazing.
feel pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Because
think
then
games-
with 10 out of 10s, then you're sort of questioning the criteria. But if I was to say, if I really liked Phil Brooks's opinion on a thing, and he said, choice, that's 10 out of 10.
I can trust this.
I can trust that guy. He's,
Yeah.
he's a trustworthy person that I... Or just slander him on Twitter or something.
And then you're like, this Splinter Cell's bullshit!
Did someone kick you in the head when you were young? Did someone literally kick you in the head?
Stop hosting this show.
Well, you can say that about a lot of 10 out of 10 games.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
for example, The Last of Us got a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Now, I know that for me personally, that was a game that, like the post-apocalyptic kind of like horror thing is not really my kind of game. But I heard they got a 10 out of 10, gave it a go, and the game was awesome. But I know that the experience for you was different, where I would consider Last of Us a 10 out of 10 because of it was new and innovative. It was different from a lot of games that were out there. And I think that's a lot of the key to a 10 out of 10 rating is a game that pushes the letter and does something new, gives something to go.
Yeah.
But I know Last of Us was a great game for you.
I loved
but
it.
not a 10 out of 10.
No, I said it wasn't a 10 out of 10.
Really?
I
Can
said
you
it
tell
was,
me why?
because I got... It was, expectation killed it a bit because I was really late to it. I was an Xbox gamer. I finally got to play it.
That's right.
And so expectation kind of killed it a little because I'm coming into this thinking I'm going to experience the godfather of video games.
Yeah.
And I got drawn out of it straight away as soon as I had to start hiding in cover, and the little girl who's with me just starts running around like an idiot, but she can't be seen.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, hello, this is pulling me right out of the experience. It feels stupid and gamey, and I'm like, what's everyone raving about? Of course, as I continue to play it, you forget about that. I loved it, amazing game. But I would have just knocked it a bit because of that. I thought that was pretty silly.
So what, a 9.9?
Yeah, like a 9.9, 9.8. I don't think it was perfect. But it depends on how you rate a game.
So
if I was to rate it on an IGN scale, I probably would give it a 10.
So if that
It's a
girl,
masterpiece.
had stayed in cover
Yes.
and she'd followed you and had reacted a little bit more with a bit more artificial intelligence, or whatever, you would have been like, oh sweet.
I would not have been pulled out of the experience the way I was when it first happened and then continued to happen.
Did you find that when you played it? Did you feel that?
The first time I played it, I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Like, I was enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
But the second time I did, I noticed it and I was like, what? She's right there. They can't see her. Or
But she's a little girl. She's pretty small.
no, because they do make
Tend to
a
me.
they do make a conscious choice that they didn't want that to be a mechanic because she is following you, she's trailing you, and it pulls you out of the experience that it's her fault that you got spotted.
Yeah, and that's happened in games. So
Yes.
Yeah, totally. I saw why they did it afterwards because I sort of realised, oh shit, this would just be bloody annoying if she was getting spotted left, right and centre.
Yeah. Gamer rage.
Oh, totally. Gamer rage. Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 10 out of
yes,
10.
do you guys think 10 out of 10 is
I
reachable?
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Like that it's a reachable score.
Well, it has to be. Otherwise, why have a scale in the first place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a game should be able to achieve the highest ranking.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. And the thing is, with the realization that it comes in generations, like, our expectation for 10 out of 10 next year is going to blow out whatever the 10 out of 10 this year
course,
was
yeah.
for us. So,
yeah, totally.
and as long as we keep that in the back of our minds of what's 10 out of 10, hey, I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quickly, do you guys think that Last of Us is a 10 out of 10? Quickly.
No.
No.
I haven't played it.
How about did you got Metal Gear Solid Guns of the Patriots? Metal Gear 4.
Haven't played it.
Yeah. If I probably played it at the time, definitely when it came out.
I'm just basing it on...
I wouldn't have given it a 10, but it was an awesome game.
Yep.
9, at least.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
10.
Probably 10 based on what I've seen. I haven't played it, but yeah.
I'd give that an 8.
yeah, just a little sort of, I'll
Yep.
give it a 10.
Uncharted 3.
Haven't played it.
Haven't
Did
played
they
it.
get a 10? Wow.
In some circles, I'm not sure. IGN 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I would have rated part 2 higher, so I would say maybe a 9 point something.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have even given part 2 a 10. I'd say 9, maybe 8.5, 9. was good, very good.
What about Journey?
Haven't played it.
These are all PlayStation buys.
Yeah. From what I've heard and stuff, I can see why it would be a 10.
Yeah, 7.5, 8. 7.5 or 8, yeah.
But hype changed your opinion, didn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Same
again,
thing with Last of Us.
yeah, game I came to on hype, and hype kills a game, totally, eh? But yeah, Journey was raved about so much, and then I finally play it, and I'm like, yeah, it's cool. But it's no Grand Theft Auto 5.
I didn't think Grand Theft Auto 5 was that great, actually. Like, I get it in terms of, in my opinion, a 10 out of 10 game, even with its flaws, is part of the game.
Yeah.
But if it's done something new, like in terms of just how massive Grand Theft Auto 5 was and just how good it looks, and soon to come with Metal Gear Solid 5, but I guess you won't really tell unless you play it yourself, and you'll always have your own opinion depending on the style that you play, which is Grand Theft Auto as well as Metal Gear will they kind of adjust to your own play style depending whether you want to go in guns blazing. And a lot of games are turning like that. Fallout 4, a lot of those open world games kind of go in that direction.
Yeah.
Of play the style that you'd like to.
Yeah.
And there's a game that's potentially probably going to be a 10 out of 10, isn't it?
Interesting. I just want to quickly touch on something because you just said that there was a very PlayStation heavy list you just mentioned. I'm suddenly going, well, what are the 10 out of 10 Xbox
Or
games?
Xbox.
Because I actually. All right. So next topic.
He's console list.
I didn't even think about it, because I
What a console list.
I can't think. I think maybe Halo 3 got a 10, but I don't know.
any PC games that got a 10? Yeah.
Must be
Maybe
Civ Revelation.
StarCraft would have got probably that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Surely.
Whoa.
2? StarCraft 2?
Yeah, I know the dynamic with
World of
PC at the
Warcraft,
moment is
probably.
the free-to-play multiplayer online games at the moment. There's not a huge amount of story-driven gaming at the moment
Yeah,
on PC.
Or exclusive type.
What would you say, like, World of Warcraft would be a 10 out of 10?
It would kind of
Back in the day, yes. Now,
Yeah, but
no.
it'll be.
Yeah?
I think it'll be more based on it's 10 out of 10 in terms of the popularity of it. You know, it's
Yeah.
so huge that, and it's got such a big following that people who just love it will just automatically go 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Even with all the, the new adjustments that they
If
put
you-
into it all the time.
If you compare it to other MMOs, though,
Yeah.
it is a 10 out of 10. It has to be because of the user base. and some people maybe say Guild Wars 2, maybe, I guess, but that's up there, isn't it, in terms of an MMO?
Okay, yeah. So
it's compared
it
within the
actually
genre
gets
as
what
well.
within its
Yeah,
genre.
there's so many MMOs now, but World of Warcraft is pretty much the
It's
judge
like
what you judge by now.
Yeah.
The MMO.
Does it
Yeah.
does it hit that level
Yeah, like what Phil was saying, the Godfather.
of that genre? Yeah.
MMOs,
Yeah, like a film analogy, really, isn't it? Same thing.
But that's actually not a bad question, though. Across all consoles, what's the
Which
10
console
out
has
of
the most exclusive 10 out of 10s?
10? Yeah.
I can say that. It's Nintendo.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, Mario 2 Galaxy.
Yeah, it's just the Marios, the Zeldas, it's that quality.
Yeah.
They're always peaking. Even if it's just a 9, it's
But
always
hang on
peaking.
a minute. Does this also fall into that same thing of getting ranked within their thing, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
Nintendo can only make a Nintendo style game. They're all very similar in their sort of stylistic quality and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, as a Nintendo game,
Yeah.
this is a 10.
Yeah.
But is it actually as good
In comparison,
as...
Yeah.
Because I also
Wow.
saw that the most overrated 10 out of 10 game was Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword or something.
Probably, yeah.
People say that that's not a 10. Why did it get a 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of
Nostalgia.
Well,
It's
but
a
maybe
Zelda
because
game.
maybe
Yeah,
because,
Zelda
it's, because
game
it's Zelda,
gets-
because it's Nintendo and it's getting ranked within that genre.
Yeah.
And if you were to compare that with say The Last of Us in Game of the Year, it'd be like apples and oranges, I guess. But I think Last of Us would still just dick it. Like there'd just be no comparison.
It's just, yeah, exactly. You got to compare it with what it's coming from, don't you?
And I wonder if that's why Nintendo has so many more 10s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And criteria as well, because then, if you're really comparing it, then, it's hard to compare Last of Us to Zelda.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's a completely different gaming genre. The people who play those things have a different completely mindset about what they like in their game.
Yeah.
It's like trying to compare NFL to Resident Evil. You just can't. You know.
It's like you just pick two things out of the random bucket.
Yeah,
and choose them.
That's a good point, and we've brought that up in past podcasts. So,
Yeah.
I don't think we posted it up, but like, will a racing game ever become Game of the Year?
Oh yeah.
And like, would a racing game ever become a 10 out of 10?
Yeah, Gran Turismo 2 was a 10, I think.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, wow.
Well, for the time, Gran
Yeah,
Turismo
yeah,
was
sure.
just
Yeah,
like
That was the only
phenomenal.
option, really.
Yep.
It was like the game you had to have.
But was it Game of the Year that year? I don't think it was. I don't think Game of the Year has ever been awarded to a racing game.
Fighting game, Street Fighter 2 would have been 10 out of 10.
I think Soul Calibur got a.
You Soul Calibur got 10 out of 10.
got a 10 out of
Back
10.
in
You're making me cry.
On the Dreamcast, 1999, I got it.
I think it is. It's a timeliness, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, Gran Turismo
Yeah.
2 was always pushing the boundaries of the racing sim type games, and then it hit that
Yeah.
peak. And ever since then, it's just like, oh, it's only going to get.
Yeah.
But
How much further can you go with a game
Yeah.
like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But in saying that, should we be ranking them within their genre? So when Forza 6 comes out this month, should we be giving that a 10? Because it's clearly the best racing game probably ever made when it comes out.
Yeah.
It looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
But it's not going to get a 10. Well, maybe it will. I mean, maybe
Oh,
I'm jumping the gun.
we'll
but-
see.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of room for innovation, though. There is.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
and
Okay, sorry.
No.
Let's think about the future now. Games that haven't come out. Do you think Halo 5 will get a 10?
No.
No.
Really?
I don't know.
Based on what you said before about how the Zelda one did based on nostalgia,
Yeah.
it's Zelda, then Halo, yes, definitely falls in the category of could get a 10.
It could,
It could.
but I don't think it will.
I don't think
not
it will
even
either.
with the backing of a
Yeah.
movie
What?
and all that sort of just the way the tsunami of fan base behind it.
But the game itself, when the reviewer plays it, the game is still going to need to blow them away. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't,
It looks good. It looks good. So, sorry, what were you going to say about?
I was gonna say, like, I think Halo won't, because it's past its peak post Bungie. Like,
Yeah.
it's just Halo now.
but it is
It's not a
it is the
game.
Empire Strikes Back version for 343. You know, it's their second foray into the Halo world, and they had their testing grounds with Halo 4. They could come out guns blazing with number 5.
Well, I just, for lack of a better thing, advertising Star Wars here. The thing is, look how much Star Wars is. Obviously Star Wars is always going to be popular, but it's just blowing up again
It has,
off
yeah.
the back of this movie and Halo. The movie. What's the thing date of that? What's
Steven Spielberg's behind a TV series that they're producing.
That's
Apparently
right,
it's still
just-
underway.
man? With the cartoons like Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Now there's new Star Wars Clone Wars cartoons. Man,
And the game's coming out.
yeah, games coming
Yeah,
out.
Battlefront.
Do you think that will be a 10 out of 10?
No.
No.
It could be.
Fallout
Within the
4.
multiplayer shooter,
Fallout 4 will be a 10.
Specialized-
Yeah, Fallout 4. I'm going to bring it out. Fallout 4?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I think Fallout 4 is going to, unfortunately, set a really high standard. I mean, we say about ranking within their genre,
Yeah.
but I think
If
games that come after Fallout are at the same time, like Tomb Raider, and then you've got your Star Wars Battlefront stuff. I think they're actually going to suffer from the weight of Fallout being so bloody good. Like, it'll be in the back of their minds, I just gave Fallout 4 a 10, so I guess Star Wars Battlefront's actually like a 9. You know? Like,
Oh, yeah, that's always the crime of people who are judging.
Yeah.
It's because you play this game, and then the next game comes, and then you have to rank it higher.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's hard
Cool.
to look in isolation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great topic.
That's 10 out of 10.
Great topic.
You can rate us online.
Yeah. Oh no, we're going to get a 0.